Okay, and it does seem as though we are working our way into the inaugural game of Epoch of Annihilation. Epoch. However you want to pronounce it, I believe both are acceptable. I've also heard epic as a way of pronouncing it. I think that it comes from an Old English word that also means epic or epoch, both meaning a period of time. And today we will be having our first two games of round one. First two games of round one, iconic and best. We'll first be playing, followed by we will have Loyalty and Arca de Noed. So we will be expecting to be seeing a nurse set first from Iconic versus Best, and then a Singularity set, and their tiebreaker is Wraith. Interesting one there. Notably, Nurse is played on Disturbed Ward. Disturbed Ward sees very little play in competitive games, but because we do have very specific maps picked out for every single killer, we're hoping to see some very fun gameplay from both sides. Singularity is played on Azrov's resting place, and that's a very normal map for competitive. However, we are going to be seeing very few maps that are normal competitive maps. So don't expect to be seeing a whole bunch of... Don't be expecting to see a whole bunch of maps that are like Coal Tower 1, Wrecker's Yard, and ARP or Suffo Pit. Those maps are going to be few and far between. And Wraith, although normally played on maps such as Dead Dog Saloon or occasionally Wrecker's Yard, we instead will be seeing Wraith played on Fractured Cowshed. Again, not a super common map in competitive. We do know that the corn blindness is a real thing. And Loyalty versus Arca de Noed would be Huntress Twins Wraith. Again, a second Wraith tiebreaker game. Huntress is played on Wretched Shop, not Wrecker's Yard, Wretched Shop, which is not an uncommon map for her to be played on, but not the usual. But, it's still fairly normal. Twins is played on Shattered Square, commonly called Borgo. Borgo is the red map. If anybody is curious who doesn't seem to remember the names, I know I personally struggle with that one. It's going to be interesting to see Twins on such a map. I know a lot of teams don't like that map for the sole purpose of how it looks. But we never know what to expect with this new Twins update. Teams need to be incredibly clear on what items they are bringing on which survivors. Survivors who do bring the flashlight must have dead hard. Survivors with a medkit must have balanced landing, and the toolbox must be on lithe with the firecracker on sprint burst. Now, generally speaking, almost every single map balancing will have the Firecracker paired with Sprint Burst. Most killers are like that. However, occasionally we will see one or two variants, but Nurse is going to be one of those that is going to be sticking to that plan. Now, originally, when the tournament was first being set up, the incredibly strict balancing at the time was considered very, very harsh. But we don't see that anymore. We've actually seen teams and tournaments adopt this style of balancing ever since the balancing for this was first leaked a year and a few months ago. So this has been a long time coming. We've been waiting for this for a long time. Nurse is expected to be bringing the bloodied or torn blueprint. They get the option, but they are not allowed to bring No Way Out or Scourgehook Pain Resonance. Pain Resonance is one of those perks that is a pesky perk. We all know how that one is. Oftentimes we will be seeing that brought on every single killer it is available on, and survivors are expected to be bringing either the annotated or Vigo's blueprint. They choose where the hatch spawns. 2 Vigo shrouds, which spawns the survivor away from the furthest possible spawn point from the killer. No, sorry. They actually... Yes. Yes, that is the Vigo's blueprint. Yes, far as possible from the killer. And the clear region, which is an uncommon offering in competitive. It just kind of clears up the fog just a little bit, makes it a little bit easier for everybody to watch at home and enjoy their games that they get to watch. However, when we look at the Singularity, there's a few changes in the bans from the Nurse. Obviously, Singularity is played on a significantly smaller map. Instead, however, only Botany, Dead Hard, DS, Deli, Off the Record, and Wicked are banned specifically against Singularity. This does not include, however, the general balancing, which does have something like 70 perks on it. It's a lot of perks. And Singularity, we're going to be expected to see Flashlight paired with Smash Hit and Firecracker paired with Sprint Burst. And they're going to be bringing a cut coin for the killer with the annotated blueprint, Vigo's blueprint option for the survivors, 1 Vigo shroud, 1 Shroud of Union, and 1 bloodied blueprint. That just sort of creates a homogeneous game structure. Now, as we do start to slowly see our players roll into their Discord voice chats, we will be preparing the match any second now. And when we do, we are going to be switching over to the match setup screen, which I'm hoping everybody does enjoy. But we have seen both of these teams in Iridescent League previously. However, this is the first time I have personally seen Iconic back with their roster since they played in Iridescent League a year ago. Almost a year ago? They had played a very long time ago. And Best, a lot of players from Best were on Arca de Noed last season of Iridescent League, a tournament at which we do share a lot of the staff from. And so a lot of that will be overlapping just a little bit. Now, let's get the match set up here in just 1 second and leave you all with a little bit of waiting music for the lobby. And we do see Elixir playing nurse on the disturbed ward we have loaded on in already. And there's some interesting stuff going on here with the spectator. Okay. Falling through the world for just a split second, but we do see a corrupt intervention, and we've already got a first hit onto Trophy, the Adam, who does have the medkit. Let's just remind everybody what the medkit means. Medkit means balanced landing. But this survivor seems to have had a lucky break because we cannot find them anymore. Abrupt intervention is just about halfway over. We do hear a generator just about 10% of the way. And Matar will be taking the hits from the nurse. Got the stun. Oh, actually, this is the survivor with Lucky Break. Matar using the trees as a form of protection from that hit from the M1 blink. Trophy resetting himself. Elixir's not able to find Matar. Instead, we'll try and look towards these corrupted gens. We saw the survivor for a split second in the back. There's Trophy, who had just recently reset himself. But Elixir is going to drop that and just go for the ace, which is Flicks over here. Corrupt intervention is out of time. Flicks just slightly too far away to take the M1 from the blink. Elixir looking to commit to this chase. Does seem like we do have some weird stuff happening with the spectator vision, but that is the first generator already coming out for Iconic. Flicks doing an amazing job at preventing this down for as long as possible. We do hear just a little bit of progress on this generator next to us. Could be possible that one of the other survivors was recently chased away as the chase started to go towards it. Second generator does come out as Flicks runs to the edge map. Flicks going into this little cubby section of the map. We're gonna see Elixir commit to this. Ever so slightly not able to get that hit. Does seem like one of the other survivors has come in for a body block. But Elixir gets the down onto Flicks. Matar now does not know what to do, is trying to avoid giving another injure. And he is able to do it as the third generator gets complete. Our survivors now see a agitation in play. Flicks taking that hook, and that is also going to be the fourth gen getting complete. Unhook onto Flicks is almost immediate. And Matar taking the hit from main building, just going to leave. It seems like our interactive hook overlay is not working right now. We'll get that fixed for the future. Elixir finding Trophy. No, still Matar in the top of the map over here. But that lucky break is going to buy a lot of time. And Matar walking through just that one portion where it forces the blink to be eaten by the environment. Oh, and unluckily, that is going to be the blink getting eaten from the wall. But the last generator does get complete here. Matar running for his life. Lucky Break is out of time. Elixir does hear Matar and latches on to this chase. It goes through main building. But our survivor is going to die on the pallet. This could be a pallet play. Oh, it's actually a flashlight save! And Flix gets the flashlight saves, takes the M1, and Matar hops locker, forcing the grab. But this is going to be a basement hook on the Matar. The other survivors are going to be taking the outs. And Matar is going to hit the death state. And that's going to be the conclusion of our first game. Incredible plays from those survivors. We do see, they were prepared for a lot of challenge. They knew what they were going into for this. And we do see Squirio on the nurse. We've loaded on in already. And we do find Henry running towards main building right in front of the nurse with still only a quarter of the way into our corrupt intervention. Henry is gonna run to one of the cubbies on the side. Going to narrowly avoid that second blink from Squirio. And Henry is able to get the stun. That does not look like a smash hit, but Henry is gonna go for another stun on the nurse, which is not gonna be enough. Instead, Henry's gonna take the hit from the pallet and then the down because of the lost distance. And Elixir thinking about going for that pallet stun to get the save before the hit comes in, before the hook comes in. Elixir with the sprint burst, trying to avoid that hit as long as possible. We do know that the goal for our survivors is 3 fresh outs. And Elixir taking that hit, getting the unhook, first gen getting complete. And our killer is going to slug and go for this tunnel onto Henry. This looked like we saw a dead hard. Henry taking the down. Squirio not picking, instead going to go back for Elixir. Still at the hook. Very likely we would have seen an unbreakable in just a moment or two after this pickup happened, if it had not happened. Henry now not the only survivor to be hooked. Squirio trying to avoid eating a 5-second DS in update, which only recently happened, and is going to use Pop Goes the Weasel onto the main building generator. Survivors do also note the perk Agitation is in play, and we have Eruption also getting revealed as we see these gens get kicked. And Cyanil trying to stick around after getting the pickup on Henry, but does get downed, regressing those generators just a little bit more. I'm not too sure what we saw Kerbo's aura from, but we did see Kerbo's aura as they dropped down in main building. Cyanil is going to be getting hooked next. Elixir does hit the second state. And I believe that this will confirm a win on the first set for Iconic. We hear Ace Kerbo in main building. Cyanil getting unhooked. We are not able to hear the unhook notification due to a spectator bug, and that is going to be a confirmed death on Elixir. Kerbo gets downed. Only 1 gen done, but at least the survivors are dying on opposite sides from where they can progress generators from the furthest away. Now every survivor has been hooked at least once. I do not suspect we will be seeing a deliverance. Cyanil takes the down from an unfortunate running out in front of the killer as they looked towards this cubby. And I believe if Kerbo had deliverance, we would be seeing it being used now. We do hear the generator at Shack quite progressed. That is going to be Kerbo getting unhooked before hitting the next stage. Squario looking for these survivors. Squario just wants to confirm these gens and this hook. Finds Henry going for the unhook. And Henry able to get the dead hard off just in time to get this unhook on to Cyanil. Cyanil lithing away. But that does look like an off the record. Henry and Cyanil now slugged. Kerbo could only be doing gens somewhere else on the map. Cyanil being put onto the death hook with Henry slugged. Both survivors have only been hooked once. It does seem like Squario is trying to avoid a hatch play. And this generator by the road has a bit of progress. Not enough to get it complete, however. Squario is looking for this kill on the last survivor. But if a bleed out does happen, that does mean that is 0 points for that death. And that is going to be the invocation weaving spiders being used by Kerbo. Interesting decision to be going for that while our survivors were being slugged, and we do see the scratch marks going upstairs. This is going to be finding Kerbo. Squario falling through the floor with the blink, unluckily, but that is going to be Kerbo seen and not able to get a balanced off in time. We do see a nearby hook. This is going to confirm a death onto Kerbo because there is no way, I believe, for us to see Kerbo be getting unhooked. Power struggle is not allowed. But if it was, I'm sure we would see value from that there. This is going to be the 4K, 4 gens remaining, as we do see Squario puts the last survivor onto the hook. And the end of the first set is going to be 46 for Iconic and 12 for Best. We're going to be moving into the next set in just a moment. Remember, it will be Singularity on Azurov's resting place. And we are, in fact, loaded onto Squirreo, playing the Singularity. We do happen to also see a top side spawn with a 4-gen there on the top side. Only 3 gens towards the bottom, not even on the bottom completely. And a very quick goop tag onto our buddy Kerbo. And Kerbo is going to be taking the M1 towards Shack. Unfortunately, will not be able to make the pallet, as it will be facing the other direction. And Squirreo is going to be going for our goop tags onto these survivors. And that's going to be an M1 hit on to Henry. And we're going to be seeing that add-on with the broken status effect affecting Henry. This will be Kerbo hooked in basement. Very likely seeing a second hook in basement only minutes after. Squirreo trying to get some information on our survivors somewhere else, somewhere across the map. Henry getting hooked, not in basement, not trying to go for 2 camps in basement at the same time. Instead, going to be going for a pain resonance hook. The survivors are aware of Sloppy Butcher as well. And these are coming through with a teleport on to Elixir. But removing the goop is not enough. Gonna be taking a hit through the window. Squirreo trying to get the Volt. That's gonna be Kerbo going to the second stage. We do know where all of our survivors are. That's a teleport from Squirreo. It does seem like we're gonna be getting the down right before the pallets. Does look a little bit buggy, unfortunately. Another pain resonance activation onto main building. Henry getting unhooked from Cyanil. And they are playing against time, getting that unhook in the basement. Now, because there is no deliverance, this is tough for our survivors. They are aware of how much work they have to do. And Kerbo, one of our Deathhook survivors, does get gooped. But Squirreo not able to get the teleport over the slightly large table hitbox. But instead going to get Cyanil tagged. Trying to come in for a teleport. Oh, but instead trying to just go for an M1. Does not connect. Cyanil kind of surprised and stopping for a second, thinking, oh my goodness, what just happened? And getting hit there. Squirreo goes for the teleport through, and the slipstream breaks the pallet, and it's going to be a down onto Cyanil right at the truck. Our survivors are trying to reset here, trying to regroup, but with 6 hooks already, this is going to be a tough one. We do see Elixir getting fully healed. And this generator very close to getting complete, but Pop Goes the Weasel will regress that. And now we only have one survivor who is missing a health state, and that is our survivor on hook, but 2 survivors do get the slipstream goop onto them. Unfortunately for Elixir, the slipstream hit does come through at main building, and that is going to be the 4th regression event onto the gen already. And in just a second, we will be seeing Cyanil hitting the 2nd stage. All survivors are now on Death Hook. This is amazing news for Squario, but absolutely terrible news for our survivors, who continuously get their very high progressed gens pushed back by Pain Resonance and Pop Goes the Weasel. Squario just barely in range to get the teleport on to Kerbo. Getting the M1 with the Split Storm. Closes the distance and gets the down on the opposite side of the map from where our hooked survivor is. But on a pallet, will we see a... not see a pallet save today? That is going to be Kerbo's Death Hook. But because our killer is on the opposite side of where our survivors were working, we can only guess how much progress they have on their gens. We do see one of the survivors. Oh, but the survivor doesn't see the eye in the sky. Elixir taking chase at main building. And our killer is going to be closing the distance, getting the hit before they can get back around to the vault. Closing the distance even yet again. Gets the M1 down. And this will be the Death Hook for Elixir. We still have 2 survivors left. We see survivor hiding behind the fire barrel. They are able to get the pallet stun. But Henry's still taking the hit, knowing that he cannot make it through the vault without getting injured. He decides to take the hit and run to the opposite side of the map from where Cyanil seems to be repairing this generator main building. He is not committing! Oh no! Instead, this is going to be Cyanil taking the hit through the pallet. And this main building generator, oh so close to getting finished. And Squario trying to make sure that these eyes can see anywhere the survivor is working on the gen from. Squario is looking all over for our survivors. We don't see... Oh, Cyanil's still on the top side of the map. Gets tagged. And is able to teleport. Gets the down because of the slipstream breaking the pallet. That is going to be an attempt for the 4K, and I think we just saw a crow fly up. If not, we are hoping for our survivors. That shack is almost complete. And it is almost complete, but it's not close enough. Henry sticks to it, is not able to get it. Cyanil takes chase. And the slipstream is able to break the pallet, but is not able to get the down. Cyanil just trying to tease the M1. Running away. We did already see the unbreakable, so we know that there is no unbreakable from Henry, but depending on how this plays out, we are either going to be seeing one of the survivors getting hatch, or one of the survivors bleeding out, or we are going to see Squario ever so slightly finding both survivors. We do hear Henry where the hatch would normally spawn, which is very unfortunate for our survivors. Cyanil still at the top side of the map. We're just trying to get some extra regression in on these gens, but he needs to make sure that he gets the hook, and he does find our survivor. And this will be a 4K at 5 gens for Squario. And iconic, very incredible gameplay coming in from Iconic, the team that was previously known as Ascetic, and then before that known as Iconic. We will be swapping over to the next side in just a moment. And we are, in fact, loaded in with Kerbo playing Killer. We do see some familiar faces from the previous Survivor game that Iconic was playing on the same survivors. Matar taking the tag and going straight up the map, trying to avoid this hit, but is actually gonna try and go for a window tech that does not end up working. And instead, Matar is gonna be taking it down. Trophy is nearby.
Genetic material ready for
but
transport.
That's gonna be a hook on to Matar. And we see Flix actually is the one that is nearby. Trophy working on a gen on the opposite side of the map. And we will see Painrise and Pop Goes the Weasel. Our survivors also are aware of Sloppy Butcher. Our survivors are coming back to get this unhook. And because Trophy was the one to get it, Matar will also be getting slipstreamed. And breaking the pallet, we're going to be seeing Kerbo go for this tunnel. Does seem like a quick and quiet. Ooh, and Matar goes for the grab because there's no decisive strike. Flix was trying to go and stay there for the flashlight save, but it's not going to be enough. Instead, although the first gen does come out and that will confirm a win for Iconic, this is a little bit of a mistake play from Iconic. I think Matar was probably planning on actually just dying on the pallet. And Flix and Squario are both pressuring this unhook. Matar is notably not the survivor that has camaraderie. No, this is Trophy that is here. I mean, Squario is on the opposite side of the map, working on those generators, trying to pump them out. Instead, this is going to be Matar hugging that pallet, going to be getting the stun. And very, very narrowly avoiding that tag from the goop. And Kerbo is looking for Matar, but Matar was actually inside of the locker for head on. Gets the stun, and the pod is down. Looking for Matar, does get the tag on Matar. And it looks like our survivors are trying to go for a little bit of a for the people play. Instead, Squario is going to be taking this body block and down as opposed to Matar. But he is still going to be getting the injure. Squario likely the survivor with Unbreakable, as we do usually see for the people Unbreakable paired together. And that is going to be the pickup onto Squario. Kerbo just going through these pallets. Third, fourth generators getting complete. Our survivors are just absolutely playing like this is every other tournament game they've ever played in the past. They are playing this for their lives. Our killer does get the down. Flicks taking the injure. We are not going to be able to be seeing any sorts of flashlight plays. That's going to be 2 downs. Turbo sitting around. Picking up Matar. No firecrackers. That did seem like that was a possibility. And a first death does come through. And because we just saw the other 2 survivors reset and remove their goop, Kerbo is going to decide to pick up Flicks and get him on a hook as soon as possible. He does end up getting the hook. This is going to be the second survivor hooked, and Squirreo found next to some tires, trying to work his way up, sneak his way up through the map to work on getting that unhook. See a whole bunch of scratch marks, but we don't see a Nancy. And there she is. Kerbo is trying to get this down. Trying to work on getting a 4K, I imagine, because now that there are only 3 survivors left. Now there's only 3 survivors left, this is significantly more likely to happen. And as a second survivor put on their fresh hook. Trophy could be trying to lurk for the unhook. Actually, he's going to be right here at the crane. We did see just a little bit of feet for a second. Just a few little shoes from Adam. And he's able to close the distance. But Lithe is going to ensure Trophy does not give that M1 easily. Is going to elect to kick and break that pallet mid-chase. And because we don't have Flicks going for the unhook, instead we have Trophy, can only assume that Trophy is, while getting the unhook, Flicks is getting the last generator. This will be the last fresh hooked survivor. And some players might have realized just then that the clock was so close that they could have chosen to delay that hit, and it might have pushed Squirreo into the second state. But hindsight is 2020. Trophy is on the hook. All of the gens are complete, and both of the exit gates are on the top side of the map. Flicks is now in chase. If Squirreo had Unbreakable and used it earlier, this is very bad news. This will end up in a 4K if Kerbo is able to get this down. Trophy does hit the second state. I'm assuming because we haven't seen Squirreo pick himself up yet, he's not going to be able to pick himself up at all. Oh, Kerbo trying to go for a teleport through the shack. I'm not sure if you can do that, but it is worth trying. And that's going to be a down and a confirmed 4K. But the question is, will Squirreo bleed out? That is now we are going to see. Kerbo is going to be looking for our last survivor. And we are able to find him. This is, if not, be denying 4 points for best. Will we hear an injured Nancy? And we will hear an injured Nancy. There's also a nearby hook. So Kerbo's build did end up working for him in the end with a final score of 38 iconic, 28 best. And we will be back in an hour for the next game, which will be between Loyalty and Arca de Noed. Don't go away. Stick around, because we'll still be here. We're just going to be taking a little bit of an intermission.